Once upon a time in a village there was a boy around 10-12 years old who lived with his parents. One day, after many years, he visited his grandfather's village. There, he spent all his time playing with his grandfather. One day, while playing, the boy said to his grandfather, "Grandfather, when I grow up, I will become very successful. Can you teach me how to be successful?" His grandfather smiled and said yes. He took the boy to a plant shop where they bought 2 small plants. They returned home, and his grandfather planted one of the plants in a large pot and kept it indoors. The other plant was planted outside the house. Then, his grandfather asked him, "What do you think? Which plant will grow better in the future?" The boy thought for a while and said, "The plant we planted indoors will grow better because it will be safe from all problems inside the house. The plant we planted outside is at risk from many things like the strong rays of the sun, storms, heavy rain, and even animals." His grandfather smiled and said, "Let's see what happens to these 2 plants in the future." 4 years later, the boy returned to his grandfather's house. After seeing his grandfather, he asked, "Grandfather, last time I asked you how to become successful in life, but you didn't tell me anything. But now you have to tell me." His grandfather smiled and said, "Sure, but first, let's look at the 2 plants we planted a few years ago." He took the boy to the place where the indoor plant was kept. They saw that it had grown into a bigger plant. Then, they went to the place where the outdoor plant was planted. They saw that the small plant had grown into a huge and massive tree with strong and long branches, casting its shade over the entire ground. Now his grandfather looked at him and asked, "Tell me, which plant has grown bigger and stronger? Which plant has been more successful?" The boy replied, "The plant we planted outside." But he was puzzled and asked, "Grandfather, how is this possible? That plant must have faced many dangerous situations, many problems, yet it has grown into such a big tree. How did that happen?" His grandfather looked at him and said, "You're right. The plant we planted outside must have faced many problems, and by dealing with those problems, it has grown into such a big and massive tree. Now it can expand its branches as much as it wants, and problems like storms and heavy rain only make its branches stronger. That's why it has become such a huge tree, and now all those problems seem small in front of it." Then his grandfather looked at him and said, "Son, always remember one thing. Unless you struggle in your life, unless you go through difficulties, you won't be able to achieve success in your life. If you always choose comfort in your life, you won't grow as much as you could. But if you're always ready to face problems and challenges, then no destination will be impossible for you, and even big problems will start to seem small." After hearing this, the boy took a deep breath and looked at the huge and massive tree. His grandfather's words were echoing in his mind. Friends, we often think of problems, obstacles, and difficulties as our enemies in life. But these very obstacles and difficulties make us strong and more successful. As someone once said, if you're not facing any problems in your life, understand that you're on the wrong track. So friends, if you want to spread this story to more people, please like this video.